Her message arrived at 2:11 a.m. A picture came first, her cheek swollen, her lip torn, her eyes stretched wide with fear. Then the text followed. "Dad, I'm locked in the bathroom." She added one more line. He said soldiers don't scare him. His people run the city. The air around me stilled in that way danger always announces itself. My heartbeat didn't spike. It dropped, heavy and controlled. I walked straight to my sergeant major and handed him my phone. He studied the photo like someone had just placed an explosive in his palms. He didn't speak. He just breathed out once and gave a single nod before he stood, his knees cracking like distant thunder. "Wake everyone," he said. All of them. 14 combat-trained veterans rose at once. No chatter, no questions, just quiet determination. By the time we climbed into my truck, one thought had already settled in my bones. Someone in that house had crossed a line they would never walk back from. But the bruise wasn't the only sign. For months, she had spoken with hesitation whenever I asked about her home life. She'd stop mid-sentence, delete messages, clear her throat to hide the tremble in her voice. Soldiers learn to hear what isn't said, and her silence told me more than her words ever did. There were other clues, the kind she didn't realize she was dropping. Her sudden dread whenever she had to go back home. The excuses she invented to avoid visits. The day she said, "Dad, please don't get involved," but her voice cracked right in the middle. People think emotional pain shouts. It rarely does. It seeps quietly, poisoning everything. Her mother's new husband, my daughter's stepfather, had always carried a smile I didn't trust. When I visited once, he rested his hand on her shoulder with a grip that lingered too long. He laughed at her tears like they were an inconvenience. I saw it. I registered it. And I waited. You don't strike until you know exactly where to aim. Tonight, I wasn't arriving as a parent. I was moving with a different purpose altogether. On the way there, I pulled up everything I had saved. Old photos, location history she didn't know synced to my cloud, backup files from previous phones. Slowly, a pattern emerged. His car was always outside the same warehouse every Friday. He used 3 different phone numbers, one belonging to someone who'd been dead for years. My sergeant major sat beside me, listening to the pieces fall into place. "You sensed this a while ago," he said. "I did. But you waited." I needed evidence. Then I replayed her latest voice note, her whisper trembling. "Dad, he said if you come here, he'll hurt me worse. Please hurry." And still I stayed steady. The kind of calm a trained marksman sinks into right before squeezing the trigger. Her phone signal led to their house. But the warehouse was where the truth lived. One of the veterans murmured, "This looks familiar." And it did. Abusers always build shadows. Hidden cash, hidden allies, hidden crimes. When we stepped inside, the entire group fell silent. Inside the warehouse, we uncovered exactly what I expected. Piles of cash, bags of weapons, gang insignias, and the worst of it, videos. Too many of them. My hands didn't shake. Being correct didn't bring relief. It only made the next steps inevitable. There were recordings of him boasting to his gang, screenshots of threats he'd sent her, proof he'd used her mother's home to move illegal goods. But the final clip chilled everyone in the room. He stood behind my daughter, her face ghost pale, and said, "Tell your soldier father if he interferes, I'll send him your bones in a bag." My sergeant major watched the video once. Just once. Then he muttered, "We're done here." When we reached his home, he opened the door with a laugh, right up until he saw us. 14 veterans, unmoving, unreadable. What is this?" he stuttered. "You can't." I raised my phone and hit play on the recording. His face drained to chalk. "Where did you get that?" he whispered, collapsing under his own fear. I didn't argue. I didn't shout. The evidence did the speaking. I walked past him and into the living room. My daughter was curled up on the couch, arms wrapped around her legs. When her eyes met mine, she broke, not with a scream, but with that silent collapse that etches itself into your soul. I knelt beside her and touched her bruised cheek gently. "You're safe?" I whispered. Behind us, he murmured, "Please, don't destroy my life." I turned and looked at him. You already destroyed it, I said. I'm just showing you the wreckage. The veteran surrounded him, not touching, just forming an unbreakable circle. My sergeant major dropped a folder onto the floor. Everything printed, organized, ready for the authorities. I made a few calls, he said. Your gang won't be saving you from this. The man fell apart completely, begging, shaking, pleading to disappear instead of facing exposure. I stepped closer. You threatened the wrong child, I said. Not rage, not fury, just a simple truth. He broke. When the police arrived, they didn't need explanations. Not after seeing the evidence. Not after seeing 14 hardened soldiers standing guard over a terrified girl. They cuffed him without hesitation. He tried to catch my gaze as they dragged him away, but I had already turned toward my daughter. She slept at my place that night. No nightmares. Just the exhaustion of someone who finally felt the danger lift. I sat by the window until sunrise, watching the city lights blink out one by one. People imagine revenge burns hot, but it doesn't. It freezes everything inside you. Sharp, clean, absolute. I didn't visit him in detention, didn't taunt him, didn't need his excuses. Reality punishes men like him all on its own. My sergeant major called just before morning. Is she all right? He asked. She will be. And you? We did what needed doing. As the first thin line of daylight crept over the rooftops, cold and colorless, it felt exactly right. Justice shouldn't be warm. It should be clear and unforgiving.